Good afternoon and welcome back to On the Spot Motorsports Media. I'm your host, Mitchell Gunter, right along with Robert Simpson. And tonight we have a great husband and wife team. Linda and Tim Barrett joining us, run Stock Eliminator. We're going to talk a little bit about his career, his accomplishments, and what's going to happen in 2026. But before we get that started, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit. We'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
With more than 30 years of engine and drivetrain experience, Big Stuff is your one-stop total power management solution. Whether you're controlling a 600 horsepower street car and want the best drivability, or have a 6,000 horsepower race car, need the most bulletproof, reliable control hardware, Big Stuff can do it all. All of our components are designed and manufactured right here in the USA, including our computers, wiring harnesses, touchscreen displays, and more. Nothing is built offshore, and we take pride in being one of the only automotive aftermarket manufacturers that can say this. Learn more at BigStuff3EFI.com or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Hey, here we go. Hey, Tim, I want to thank you and your wife, Linda, for coming on with us tonight so we can dive in a little bit into Stock Eliminator. And, of course, you know, one of the biggest races of the year is fixing to take off, the 75th anniversary and the Gator Nationals coming up here in March.
So, Tim, we want to tell you thank you very much for you and Miss Linda coming on tonight. I tell you, it's been hard catching up with y'all with crazy busy schedule. But we look forward to y'all coming down and starting off your season. So is that going to be the first event you're going to be able to come to? Be the Gator Nationals?
Yeah.
Or are you going to come down and test?
No, we already know what our car will do. So we will come down for the Gators and the babies, and then after the babies, we're going to go up to North Carolina for the first IHRA race. Mm-hmm. After that one, we're going to take a short trip back down to Louisiana to Bella Rose and run the double there.
Right.
And we're going to stay a week with Jimmy Hidalgo and his wife, Denise. Jimmy called us this past Sunday. He was hoping we were going to come down for the event they're running this weekend. And but we probably could have gotten ready for it if we thought ahead of time, but no, we just have enough going on that the Gators, and the Gators, one of the favorite tracks.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, you mentioned the Hidalgos. One thing about them, they know how to cook. And I hope they cook some catfish at the Gators, because we're probably going to go over there and knock on their door and say, hey, we'd like to get some of those catfish strips that you got there.
Yeah, they have catfish, and then what we use for bait for catching bass, crawfish.
Crawfish, yep.
Yes, and they eat them by the thousands, and probably by the hundreds of pounds. But man, those people can crack them open fast and eat them, and it takes me about 30 seconds or so to get one of them little buggers are.
It's all right, but you make it do it, and that's how. The first time we met the Hidalgos, we were there at the baby Gators. I actually know the Gators, and we walked in the back where they were parked, found them, and talking to them and to invite them on, and they had some leftover catfish in the dish in a pan. Mitchell hadn't had any. Okay, and I was like going, I love catfish. But I'm like going, okay, we don't want to take somebody's food, and so took a bite, and I mean it was good. It was good, and Mitchell had it, and he looked at me, and his eyes went cross, and it was all over. So
because I'm not a freshwater fish guy. I mean, I'll eat anything that comes out of the ocean, but I've never been that type to really like freshwater fish. And I tell you what, I'll eat those catfish all day long. That they cook them.
Yeah, they can cook. They
Yeah,
can do some cooking.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Was it last year? They Jimmy always says, come on over. He said, we got some fish. He said nobody goes away hungry. So I didn't know what kind of fish they were initially, but boy, they can cook. And he had one guy there, he was doing the cooking.
Sam?
Who?
Is it Sam?
Yeah, I don't know what the guy's name was, but
we met the fella. I can't remember his name, but I met the fella, the guy that goes with him and cooks and helps out on the team. Yeah.
Those guys have nothing but fun. They work hard, and I've every time I'm around them, Cooter, he doesn't say too much,
right?
But if you keep an eye on him and you watch him, especially at the track, I've learned a couple tricks from Cooter that has helped with us over the past few years.
That makes sense. Yeah, he is a soft-spoken man, but both of their accomplishments on the track have been, unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hard work. They're a very, very hard-working family, and it shows.
And speaking of accomplishments, you're quite an accomplishment racer as well. I mean, I see all those Wallies back there behind you. I mean, you didn't just buy them.
You didn't eBay those things.
No, but you want me to tell you about how much they cost?
That's up to you.
over the past 5 years, well, actually, you can't put a price on it because I've talked to different people. We got one friend, good friend, Danny Lynch, and when we were poor 25, 30 years ago, when we had open trailers, we could only run 2 or 3 under the index, and it meant a lot to be pitting together, but we just not fantasized but dreamt, what would we do if we got one Wally, where everybody else, there's other guys, and there's guys, they've got combinations, they win class, and they've got a ton of them. God bless them. But when think about like Danny Fletcher's got 108 of them. It's just, my God, how the heck do you do it? But when we won our first one in Topeka in 21, and we had 3 heads up, and then if we won the 5th round heads up, we got to buy into the final. And we ended up running Austin Williams. And we both broke out. It was 5 thousandths, and we won. So I was ready to quit. I got one Wally. I want to go home. I want to quit, and I'll go golfing and fishing. And
right.
Then the next year at Gainesville, when we really wasn't trying like for number one, we never won class before at the Baby Gators in 22. When we ran, the Nova, what's her name? Morgan Taylor in the final. Yeah. And I think I caught a good light on her, and we had a little bit more. And thank God she was really good, because that was when the index, if you went 120 under, you'd get hit. And I think back then with that, it's not compared to this one, you got hit a little harder. So she dumped. I was pulling away, and just before the finish line, I dumped, and we went 118 under. We were only 20 thousandths from 120 under. So we were number one qualifier, and then another one. It still seems like a dream. We ended up winning the darn race. So
You had a good
quite
weekend.
exciting.
I mean, you had a good weekend. I think that's, I want to say that's Charlotte right there.
Yeah, that was Charlotte. That's another one that um our first national. We the NHRA likes to put sportsman racers under stress. And
No.
because instead of running the semifinal and then the final on the same day, we did the semifinal 24 hours before.
Mhm.
So we had to think about it. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I walked and I thought, and you try to explain to people um, this stuff, but we ended up running Kenny Anderson, another nice guy,
Mhm.
and thank God we had the power to run faster. And like I said, after he got down there, Lonnie Grimm handed us a Wally, and he's one guy that Lonnie Grimm is a really nice guy. He's got a lot of knowledge about a lot of background with drag racing, but
Right.
still, I look at it. We have 11 Wallies, and I don't believe it.
Well,
But
you say that, but it comes from a lot of hard work, and like you said, and Mitchell and I get it, and other racers out there get it. What you Miss Linda have right there comes from hard work. Now, of course, yes, you spent money to do it, but
I was
it comes down
telling,
to hard work and determination to do it.
yeah, and I was telling Linda tonight, before he came on, I thanked her for being by my side, because couldn't have done it without her.
Mm-hmm.
Before I met her, she was my high school sweetheart.
I was gonna
Uh,
ask y'all how y'all met. I was gonna ask you, but you
well,
talk. You beat me to it. Go ahead.
okay, well, we met. We went to school together. We graduated in '72. But back in those days, you guys probably aren't old enough, but girls had long hair, they wore bell bottoms, and it seemed like they had long legs and skinny little butts. And like I said, I'm 71, so I can say stuff, but I'll keep it PG rated.
All right.
But
All right.
Linda had this. I got a graduation picture of her, and kind of had a crush on her, but not like, I'm still bashful. But back then I couldn't get words out. So we never really got together. We went different directions, and I got married, she got married, and then went through a divorce, and um, we got online on the dating, and she had some really vicious um, men that she got acquainted with that
I didn't get acquainted with. I had
yeah.
one date. Let's make that clear.
and and I had a couple that I said, man, if that's what online dating's like, I don't want nothing to do with it. This one lady, the last one, well, one of them, and the picture online was attractive, and I thought, I don't want to have an attractive women, because years ago in school, all the good-looking girls had the fancy boys, the athletes, and the big talkers. So anyway, um, I got a message from this Bravada 54 on a Friday that said, I see we're from the same town. We probably know each other. So I responded back, but I didn't see that message for an hour. So I responded back, and there's no response. So I kept checking, and I'd been in a motorcycle accident, and I was living with this Italian girl that we were done. And but Sunday evening, I was sitting at, and this is I'll say too, I never used to really believe in God, but I believe in God now, because the way we met and what we've done, and with the Wallies and with what we have, it's truly a blessing. But anyways, I'm sitting on the couch. My shoulder was broken, and I was down, and it was around 8 o'clock Sunday evening, and something said, "Go check the computer." And I thought, no, I'm done with this computer stuff. In fact, I told a couple friends I was going to get a job at a nursing home, and they said, "What the heck are you going to do that for?" I said, "Well, that's the only way I'm going to get a date is by one of them old ladies." So,
I'm going to keep the jokes to myself. I'm really going to keep the jokes to
that's
myself.
still B-rated. So,
I'm going to keep them to myself. Go ahead.
So, about 8:30, I said, nah, I thought I'm not going to that computer because it's just been horror that's been coming off it. So 8:30, something said in my mind, check the computer. And I thought, no, I'm not gonna. Well, 8:45, I think about it, and that's why I believe in, there is something, because something made me get up. I went and checked the computer, and there was Linda, Bravada 54. She responded. She said, "Oh my God," she said, "I'm sorry I didn't get back to you." She was camping up in the Adirondack. She said, "We've done some fishing, and I love catching bass because they jump." And so then we started communicating. But if I waited until 1 minute after 9, she had a membership that would have expired, and she would have been gone.
Oh, wow.
So there's the thing where, when talk about God and stuff, and all the time and pray. I'm not gonna get into religious stuff, but praying, and you don't have to go to church to be. But of course, I pray for her because she's fighting breast cancer, and thank God she's doing good. And every time, and we weren't going to go to Bella Rose because we had to get back home after the National at Galat to do our income taxes. But the other day she got online, and she's within basically a day had our income taxes done. We're getting money back this year.
First time in like ever.
So we can go to Bella Rose and keep going. And but I wouldn't change nothing. Thank God. Thank God.
That's good. That's good.
And then our accomplishments, and we really appreciate you guys for taking the time out and bringing us on. And this is another one, a great way to start our season out.
Well, it's to me, every racer in the NHRA, IHRA, they have a story, and they need the opportunity to get their story out there so people can understand some of the struggles and the accomplishments that you get after having those struggles. I think it draws, we try to keep this program as PG as possible. So if junior dragster drivers or junior street drivers, they want to expand after they turn 18, it lets them know that, you can still be in the sport and have a great time, even if you never make it as a professional.
Right.
Or you may not be a professional driver, but you may want to become a mechanic and maybe want to work on one of those teams. So we like to try to hear everybody's story, no matter what class that they race in.
Right. Absolutely. And just like Mitchell said, we believe in encouraging people, uplifting people, businesses, companies, tracks, associations, but we definitely love sportsman racers. And Tim, you know that. I mean, you and I have talked before, and I've bent your ear off a couple times. Just walked up to you at Indy when you were working on your car. You know what I mean? It was an off day, and just I don't know how long we talked. My wife had to call me to tell me something because we were enjoying it.
Yeah. Well,
he was probably having a good time talking to you while I was standing by the wall taking pictures.
Hey, I was in the sportsman pits. I was happy. I really was.
Yeah, and it's nice to be around people that can make you laugh and you can have a good time, and no drama. And we've got friends. We've met friends. I'm not going to remember all their names, but we met Hal and Joe Sorensen
Really?
out in Arizona in Chandler at Phoenix.
Okay.
And it's funny because when we pitted, we were facing the lake there. And I got out of the motorhome and I happened to look over and there was that green Camaro with the flames on it. And I told Linda, I said, man, there's Al and Joe over there. And, being a stock eliminator drag racer, some guys would say, yeah, heck with those. Who are they? But if you really get down and think and they've got a 10-bolt rear end in that Camaro.
Yep.
And I mentioned something about it, but Hal said, but everything in it is Mark Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's all beefy. The 10-bolt, that 10-bolt stronger than what I have in my 12-bolt. And then we met Chad and Sherry Langdon,
right?
Sean Langdon's dad and stepmom, and they're sweet people, really hard working. They're the cams. I can't think of the cams. Clay Smith cams, and a small group, but they still do great stuff. And who else did we meet?
Julie and Jared Jordan.
Oh, Julie and Jared Jordan. Now there's
and Mark.
hard working, and Jared's a lawyer, and his mom is out there putting them on the water box and then the starting line, and just friendly, really nice people that we look forward to seeing again.
Well, you mentioned the Langdons, and go ahead and let everybody know Sean's doing really great at Gainesville and testing, private testing. No one can't go out there and watch, but we do get some snippets every once in a while. And he ran 3:45 today, which is totally remarkable.
Yeah.
And another thing, he came from sportsman racing. And I've said it a couple times before, someone had an argument about sportsman racers and stuff that over there in the pro area, pro classes, and Sean Langdon, he says, I'll tell you what, 9 times out of 10, if you line up against that sportsman racer is going to beat you off the line on almost every single time. 9 times out of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where to me, I believe he took that knowledge from running over a sportsman category and coming over to the professional ranks. And that's why he's one of the best levers at the light is because of that reason.
Yeah. And a lot of them, like Eric Anders coming up from junior dragster and, into pro stock and then pro modified, and I don't know how the heck people they can do that, but they just got that ability.
She's got like 10 licenses, or is that Alex Laughlin that's got?
No, that's her. That's her. She's probably fixing to have another license, and I think that may be happening this week or possibly next week. Her and Aaron Stanfield is going to step in the Top Fuel Dragster, and they're going to get licensed.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's just crazy. But tell us something, Tim. Your and Miss Linda's yellow '69 Camaro is an iconic Camaro. One, it's a '69, which that's iconic in itself. But the bright yellow Camaro has been around for a long time. And as far as I remember, in the pictures that I've seen and research and stuff, it's always been yellow. Okay, now I'm proud to say that I haven't changed the motor in the snow. Okay, I'm happy to say that. I'm saying that with zero bit of shame in my voice. Okay, but that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is dedication. And there's people all over the country that's done that. And actually, you'll hear the story of Warren Johnson working out in the snow in Minnesota and on his cars and stuff like that, and doing whatever needs to be done. So, but tell us, how in the world did you get started? How in the world did you get started in racing? Period, and then lead us up to your '69 that you have.
Well, it's original '69 Z28. I have the 302 4-speed. Everything is number matching except the bell housing and the air cleaner base. That got misplaced, and that'll never be. But everything else is number matching. The 302 is on an engine stand in the basement, and I bought that actually. The car, friend of my brother's bought the car. He was a big guy. He's about 6'2" maybe, and he probably weighed about 350 pounds. So you imagine that guy getting into that poor bucket seat behind that steering wheel, and the poor springs in that seat were probably actually, when you sit in that seat, the springs are shot.
I was
And
going
it
to
isn't
say.
because of, and so 1970 the Monte Carlo came out. So he traded the Monte Carlo in, or the Camaro in, for the Monte Carlo. He paid $3,400 for it, and my brother was good friends with him. So my brother bought it at the dealership, and he paid $2,800. Can you believe them cars back then for that much?
That was a lot of
And
money, though. That was a lot of money.
yeah, so my brother went into the Marines, and he brought the car with him down Paris Island, down Camp Lejeune.
Right.
And then he brought it back about, I don't know, 3 to 4 months later, and he said, my brother liked to drink beer, and he said, I'm going to kill myself. So he parked at my mother's garage where I was living, and the keys were in it. So he took off, and when my mother was gone, I'd start it up and I'd move it outside, and I tell people I used to wax that thing every weekend. And I learned a good lesson with waxing. Do you remember the classic car wax? It was a paste. Maybe they still make it. But I thought if you put the paste on heavy, you'd get a better coating of wax on it. Well,
Right.
one time, even if you're not in the sun, that stuff comes off hard. Well, one time I did it with the black stripes and the sun, and boy, I rubbed for 2 days to get that darn wax off. But
Yes.
he came home, and he went back down to Paris Island. He brought it back with him, and then he came home and he was changed because it was the Vietnam era, and I was just so in love with that car. And I asked him, I said, geez, you want to sell it? And he thought for about 10 seconds. He said, sure. So I said, how much? He said, I got to get $1,800. Boy, I got $1,800 so fast. And that's the rest. In 1972, I bought it. It had maybe 23,000 miles on it. And then I think it's got 67,000 on it now. And I started drag racing it at our local track. Actually, I got the shirt on, South Glens Falls Dragway, with stock transmission. And if you're familiar with them, I don't know if it's an M21 or 22, but it's a close ratio with a 220 first gear. Now, you used to wind it up, back then, about 7,600. But with that first gear, it bogged just a little bit. It's a wonder I didn't break something, because I ran it from 72 to 77. But I did find a transmission from Elk's Head Service that had like I forgot what the first gear, 264 maybe, or and then went through a divorce and then just quit. But kept the car, and then got back into it. I had a sister that she developed leukemia, and we donated bone marrow, did it twice, and her last thing before she passed, we were hoping she was going to make it, because I donated the bone marrow to her, and she said, enjoy life. She said, do what you want to do. And I said, oh, I will. I said, but you too. And somehow it's funny how people like that can feel that they're done. And it was I don't know, 5 days later, she passed. So I got back into drag racing with the car and did it for a few years on and off. And um, I was running the 302 Holly with the automatic transmission, and those Hollies just aren't made, for that. But gradually worked with a good old guy, Dave LeBrun.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me out. He helped me out a lot. Really miss that guy. He was a real mentor, and then the rest. I met Linda, and our second or third date, I took her to Maple Grove.
I've never been to a drag race in my life. It was the
Did you
first
go, was
time.
it was it like a Saturday night, Miss Linda, or was it like a national event?
That was a national
Oh
event.
yeah. he
Oh
introduced
boy.
it in a big
Oh boy,
way.
yeah, you went in the deep end on that one. Yep.
Yeah, we I got in, and we're good friends with Kurt Lasher. Division One definitely has a great guy with Kurt, and so I qualified the car, and I jumped. Now it's 320 miles from where I lived to Maple Grove. So I saw Kurt, and I got done, and I was loading or covering up the car. I told Kurt, I said, I'm heading home to get my girlfriend. He said, you're heading home? He said, not back to Hudson Falls or Glens Falls. I said, oh yeah. He said, were you crazy? I said, no, boy. I jumped my pickup truck, and I was back and got Linda, and we were back at the track, and she got her first thing. I initiated her with nitro.
Nice, huh?
So
that's the way to do it.
After that, it's, people, the first time when they experience in Maple Grove, you can stand so close. It actually, I don't know how it does it, but it actually like sucks the air out of you can't breathe when they take off. So, and she fell in love with it. And we ended up blowing an engine and broke a rod. I hate breaking rods.
Nobody likes that.
But had enough old parts to build another engine, and then we went along with that. And then we had some issues, and then with engines not running good, and not until the past maybe 6 or 7 years did we really start coming on. But I keep saying I wouldn't have this without Linda. I wouldn't want to do it without Linda. She's I tell her and I say I love her to death, and I'm very fortunate to have a woman, especially a high school sweetheart. Oh, we didn't finish with the dating thing there when we met and I came home. See, I'm so bashful.
Yeah.
I lose. But I'll do it quick. And so when we got talking there on that Sunday, and she said she went fishing, she was camping, and I said, well, that's one good point. And then she said, well, you're from Fort Ann. I said, well, originally from this little town, Hudson Falls. And she said, well, I said, that's where I graduated. And she said, well, that's where I graduated too. And I said, I graduated in 72. And she said, I did too. I said, well, my name's Tim Barrett. And she said, well, my name is Linda Jones. My jaw dropped. I started sweating. And I went, I said, not Linda Jones, the one that I was, I guess it'd be 15-year-old. I used to drool. The teacher would yell at me, give me paper towel, because I'd see Linda and I'd drool. So anyways, it was Linda, and she was gone. And I kept saying, Linda. And then finally she came back. She was looking for a yearbook. And she said, I don't remember you. But she said, I can't find my yearbook. And then, the rest was history. So that's the part where, I believe in God that things, do work out. And if you're a good person and you do good things for people, it does work out. So I'm praying.
It was meant to be, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah.
It was meant to be. So Miss Linda, okay. So now we know how you met, okay? And we know that, like, very early in your dating, that he introduced you to drag racing via a national event in Top Fuel. Okay, now what did you think about him running in Stock Eliminator? What did you think about that?
I thought it's pretty cool, actually, because I had a Camaro. Mine was a 70 Camaro, but a 69, never being around racing, I just thought it was cool. I did the circle tracks, the dirt tracks, that kind of stuff. I would go and watch, but I was never introduced to drag racing. So it was just cool to be able to be there, to be involved in it, to help him any way that I can. Um, Meeting people. We've met more people
Oh
all over the
gosh.
United States, and there's people, that we keep contact with all through even the off season. It's just I love drag racing. I absolutely love drag racing. We had a race in Beach Bend
Mhm.
in North Carolina or Kentucky.
Kentucky, yep.
Yeah, and it got rained out, and we were in the fourth round. It got rained out, and it was supposed to finish in St. Louis. So we were going to go to St. Louis, and we're like, no, we didn't want to go to St. Louis because it was so far to go home.
1,100 miles.
So we came home, and we emptied the motorhome and got everything out, and we were like done for the year and just all that stuff. And I was sitting in the recliner, and Timmy's at work on the car and stuff. He comes in, and I'm like pouting. I'm like totally pouting. So he says, "Do you want to go to St. Louis?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So
1,100
we had
freaking miles.
just unpacked everything, and so we just had to pack the motorhome back up. But then that's when I knew I had it bad. Yeah, I just
Yeah, anybody that's thinking about getting into drag racing, don't do it. You can if you go to your local track, but if you do any kind of traveling, but seriously, no, get into it. It's we're going through a little crisis here with sanctioning bodies, but hopefully it gets straightened out with everybody because, like I said before, NHRA Wally Parks is their number one. And if Wally didn't start, and then Don Garlitz and, all the Shirley Muldowney and I don't know what the heck we'd be doing. I'd probably be sitting out on the porch. I'd probably be down south there in a nursing home or something because, these things it can, because, I think drag racing every day, not 24 hours a day, but, think and try to think of things that, because the way we travel and we average 20,000 miles a year, and the past 5 years, if I get it right, but we ran 48 national events and 53 divisionals, 8 national opens, and 5 sports nationals in the past 5 years.
Jeez.
And we traveled over 100,000 miles. The big thing we were figuring last year, in the 5 years, we spent roughly $50,000 on diesel, just diesel alone. And then the past 5 years, we spent basically $8,000 just in crew member tickets for Linda for 5 years. And that shows, and my retirement is $4,200 a month. So I really budget, and if you get figuring stuff, we only owe on the motorhome, so that's a huge help. But you budget. I don't party. I haven't learned how to dance yet, so I think that's why some women don't like some people. If you can't dance, then.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you win Gainesville, if you happen to win Gainesville, I will get them to play some music, and you can do some dancing out there.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
I'll get with Jason Gavin, and we'll try to make it happen.
Hey, even if it doesn't happen on the track, we'll come back to your motorhome. Okay, we'll play some music. We'll have a camera, and I'll spin a flashlight if it makes you happy.
Yeah, I want to say one thing. Jason Galvin, Joe Costello, and Brian Loams. Those are three fantastic guys.
They really are.
Yes, they are.
Really are. They're
For
very, very
announcing.
good.
And Jason Galvin, he does so much, and we've communicated through last year on and off, because, like I said, I made a few comments that I was, upset about situations, and another guy that he's really good. He's they call him not a director. Dennis Thayer. He's a great guy.
Dennis. Yeah.
And I got a list of names of people, and that's what makes this sport so good. Even though there's controversies, and we're hoping something will happen, that'll hopefully, the NHRA will do something to step up here.
Right.
But
Now,
we're still
Well, Tim, there's nothing wrong with being passionate. There really isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And we all agree about that. Passion is what drives you to do things, to improve things. And we don't see any real controversy with having two associations out there. We see more opportunities for racers. And we see more opportunities for people to enjoy themselves, families to get out there, people to get involved in racing. And I think it's great. And it's like, I think I sent you the flyer. Week after the Baby Gators, South Georgia Motorsports Park is hosting a race, and it has index classes and stuff, but it also has a stock super stock combo, and it's like $4,000 a win. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I didn't see a minimum number. I didn't see anything on that, and I'm like, well, so I sent it out to everybody and Bobby and all that, trying to get the word out. I mean, I noticed the week after the Baby Gators, and people typically come down there, will be there 2 solid weeks.
Yeah.
The Gators and all that, so it'd be kind of tough, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, the following week after the Baby Gators is the one up in Dunn. Yeah.
Ah, got you. Okay. I didn't think about that. You did say that. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. No, I saw that one with South Georgia, and that's kind of now it's with the two not trying to coordinate, but races overlapping. There's a couple that there's a double. I don't know if it's when they're having the race in Leicester, New York, Empire Dragway.
Empire.
There's a double divisional at New Media that weekend.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah. So, and it's not something that anybody is planning or trying to do over the other one. It's just
Works out that way.
Yeah, there's so many things, and we now have a super stock group that hopefully we can go to a couple of them races. That the one that Dave Lay, gotta give a shout out to Dave and Gloria Lay, two more fantastic people that we really miss them. Hopefully they come back, and they are with the Tabitha, her super stock group there.
CCRA.
Yeah, the CCRA.
Yeah,
there's
out of Carolina. Yeah, Carolina Class Racers Association. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great group. That's a good group.
It sure is.
Tabitha and her and Gloria helps out, and Dave helps out. They have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of bonus stuff, fuel, and really a great group.
Little things go a long way. It sure does. Now, tell us something. Now, Tim, you telling me before, you and Miss Linda were telling me before that, or actually all of us, that coming up with the Camaro, and now there for years, you're running and running well, okay, but you took care of your stuff, and you didn't at the time have some of the newer parts in it, and then finally, y'all decided. You said, I am going to, or both of us we're going to put everything in we can to make it the best. And you approached Glenn at B&B to do your engine. But I can't remember. I think you were like reluctant to do it, and Linda said, we're going to do this or something. You were telling me something like that before. I don't remember.
I think a lot.
Okay.
We can do this. Yeah, we can do it.
We were at Indy, and we were pitted beside Glenn. And got talking with Glenn, And I already had purchased heads from Matt Steen at Victory Engine. They were on order. He was in the process of putting them together, and I was just happened to be talking with Glenn. I said I got to get my black honed, but we don't really have a good machine shop. We do, but not for like stock, super stock, or it's really, and if you don't get a good hone on the darn thing, especially with the rings that we run now. So Glenn said, he said, I'll tell you what, he said, I can do it. He said, in fact, when you get your engine apart, he said, let me know. And he said, we'll set up a day. You can bring it down. You and Linda come down, drop it off. And this was really nice of him. He said, I'll hone it, I'll check everything, and then you can bring it back home with you. So it'd be done in one day. And because I told him, I said, you take your engine, of course, engines, but parts, and drop them off, and you're not going to see them for a month or a couple months if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Right.
So I hurried up and I got the engine apart, and every cylinder down on the bottom was scored. The guy at a Napa place, the guy was well known for building modified stock car motors. It had that black, like granite grit. It was embedded into some of the pistons, and every cylinder was scored. So I called up Glenn and mentioned it. Glenn, he said, "Can you hook it with your finger?" I said, "Heck yeah." So he said, "Can you afford a Dart Black and the Dart SHP?" And I thought, again, I from the old days, a little drool came down, and I looked at Linda, and she goes, "Yeah." She didn't even know what a Dart Black was. So
it sounded nice and expensive, but I figured it hadn't been good.
There you go.
So I said, "Yeah, we can." He says, "What do you got for a crane?" I said, "Oh, we got a good Ford Chevy." He said, "Really?" He said, "Can you afford a Callie's?" I looked at Linda. Linda goes, "Yup." I said, "Yup." I said, "Order them before she finds out what they are." And so originally he was going to do the short block, and then I was going to put the heads on when Matt shipped them to our place. Mm-hmm. So he started on the stuff, and it was great timing because Matt got them done and shipped them to us, and boy, he does nice work. So I brought him down to Glenn, and ended up he built the whole engine, and the rest is kind of history. And so now it's like I said, we got to figure out what we're going to do with the 255, the 295 horse. I don't know what we're going to do. Like I said, we've got the 2-barrel set up, but really, I really enjoyed running F and G. So we'll see. I
was fixing to get into that and see if you were possibly going to run F and G at Gainesville or the Baby Gators.
Yeah, it looks like probably E. We haven't done the tech card yet. We ran E at the last race. Got what our last one was. But we ran E, and I can change the intakes 3 or 4 hours. I can have them switched quick, but we'll see if we go E, F, or G. There's actually in the Gators, I don't think there's any J, K, or L cars, but there is like 5 E cars and maybe 4 F cars, and 3 or 4 G cars. And now probably 3/4 of them will beat us, because we lost when we got to Norwalk last year. The car wasn't running, and I couldn't figure out what the heck, and we were off like 2/10, a little over 2/10, and finally, when I talked to Joe Sorensen or Hal Sorensen, he said, no, that's what we lost with that horsepower, the 165 pounds. He said 2/10. He said if we had big blocks, that 165, you'd lose probably a tenth and a half. So that 2/10 really, so that kind of solved that. And then we didn't even qualify for Indy. I did figure, and we ran, I think it was 104 under the year before at Indy, and we qualified.
Top 30.
117 or 1-8.
Yeah.
So when I got figuring with the it was like 2.1 tenths. You take that off that 1.4, now that's only 82 under. And we ran the 2-barrel at Rock Falls, and we won class at Brainerd last year, and that was with an intake and a carburetor that a month and a half before was at a swap meet. So it shows the potential. We went 85 or 86 under. So I thought, Indy, it'll run better with 2-barrel. And then the controversy, and we were so busy in the traveling, and I forgot to take a quart of oil out of the car at Indy. So we didn't qualify. We ran 84 under.
And then 86. It was 86 was the bump or something like that.
We missed by 1.
Yeah. So the quart of oil would have put us 94 under, and we would have got in. So that's how, not to dwell on it, but that was pretty harsh what happened, and so we'll see.
To explain a little bit to people who don't quite understand, under, as you're talking about, under the index. So NHRA takes horsepower factor, weight of the car. They classify what class that you're going to be in. They set an index, and when you qualify, you want to be on the other side of that index.
Quicker than that index, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you want to be faster than the index that they have put up. And some people may say, well, shoot, 1.5 seconds, that ain't much to make up. Yeah, it is. It's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot when competition's tight.
Yeah, if you get, and like I said, I've been studying, I've been looking at what, these other guys, there'll never be another Tiger Woods. There'll never be another Dale Earnhardt or Jeff Gordon. But there'll be guys that'll be really close. It's like Dan Fletcher, Joe Santangelo, Cooter Hidalgo. Those guys are rare. They have special. And there's other guys, but I've found out, I discovered something a few years ago, and if it wasn't for, like I said, my being upset last year, I figured something out. But anyways, with the index is supposed to be, it's a system that keeps cars equal in the class they're running. So no one car, a Chevy or a Ford, in say like in our combination, can run faster. So if there's heads up, they just beat you pretty decisively. Where this index, if you get something like that, you get hit with horsepower to slow the car down, so it equalizes the Camaros, the Mustangs, the Mopars, and the system isn't doing it because the system can be manipulated.
Right.
And unfortunately, in our condition, the system wasn't manipulated. The guy just lost his head, and it happened. So it's to keep the group cars equal.
Mm-hmm.
It's to me, you don't need the system. You probably know who needs horsepower, because anything that can be manipulated, you're not going to get true data for
Right.
what really action needs to be taken to
Right.
make these equal. And then you look at the combinations, and like our combinations, really a popular one, especially with the 69 Camaros,
Mm.
whether it's a 6-cylinder, if it's a three, three, 350 or 396, there's a ton of them.
Right.
And it's really popular, but now it's gotten so guys have hammered it, and it's just a lot of combinations have really been taken out of the class where it's not fun. We work hard and we spend a lot of money and to go fast. And now with our combination, I think our probably a new engine like ours is $25,000 to $30,000.
Mm-hmm.
But with the 255 now 295 horse, a guy would say a Nova, he could build a $15,000 engine, and where we run 2/10 slower than where we would with say the 25,000. Now he can compete with us, even though the way it used to be he was 2/10 slower. Now
Right.
that hit with horsepower has slowed us down to where we've got to maintain a $25,000 engine to compete with a guy that's 10 to 15. And so that's it's
Right.
taken the fun out. There's a lot of things that have been done um, that's taken the fun out, and we still go and we do it anyway. We still, like I said, we're gonna support the NHRA, and we bought a stacker and the big Super C, and like I said, if I told you how much I think about it, and um, I like to deer hunt and like to fish, and we've got I would have loved to gone on a Alaska moose or caribou or grizzly bear hunt,
Mm-hmm.
but you're talking 35,000 to $45,000.
Right.
But we've spent five times that. We're a little over 200 grand we've spent, and that's why a lot of I say why do we do it
You're
when
making memories. That's exactly why
oh,
you're doing it.
exactly,
You're making
exactly.
memories, and you cannot put a price on it.
Yeah,
In
and
a way you could, but you don't want to.
yeah,
And just like you were explaining, and for everybody out there listening, okay, what he's talking about is when you say add horsepower, what that actually means is it adding weight. In NHRA stock and super stock, for each classification, it's a horsepower brake or a poundage brake per
Weight break.
horsepower on the car. Okay, 10 pounds per horsepower, 12 pounds per horsepower, etc. So when a car gets factored from what it was at 280 horsepower up to 295 horsepower, that's 15 horsepower, times whatever the weight break is, like 11 pounds, 14 pounds, etc. So now you're carrying more weight in order to run in that class. And at times it moves a car, factors it out of a different class into another one. And when that happens, your index is with that particular class you're in. So you're now running under a different index. So not only do you have to run, at another class, you're running heavier in some cases, and now you're running against a stiffer index. So it goes back and forth, and it's a balancing act. And just like Tim said, it's a system that was originally designed so that people would take their hands off the pen and pad that used to happen years ago and factor cars based on what they observed or whatnot. And so they try to take that out and make it more automatic. Well, the problem is when they made it automatic, people learned how to manipulate the system because it had a wide open area of manipulation. And it caused things. Now, we all would agree that people that work hard on a car and race hard and all that stuff like that, yeah, things happen and you get horsepower on them. But I don't think anybody could say anything if the cars were inspected and checked properly, and then it was deemed that they were completely legal across the borders, no questions asked. Then you're like going, all right, it is what it is. But if there's situations out there where cars are not checked or not teched or something happens and the cars are factored without these checks and balances, that causes a lot of turmoil behind the scenes with people with cars and
Yeah,
stuff.
for everybody else in that class.
For everybody else. So that's the part that we all agree we love racing, but there is definitely places that could be improved upon to make things better and more level across the board. And I agree with you, Tim, completely in everything that you said. And so you're taking a car that's very competitive. It's not necessarily the quickest car combination in the class, but it's definitely not the worst. So it's definitely competitive. And now you've taken it where it's definitely competitive, but it's definitely harder to be in that competitive range as you are. I mean, and that's something that you told me originally. You and Linda mentioned, like, when you decided to go with the new engine and go with Glenn at B&B, and it's like going, all right. And you told me with a big smile on your face, all I ever wanted to do was big wheel stands. And I think you have more than accomplished that. There's pictures from the National Dragster and all over where you see nothing but sunshine for the longest time. And until you put the wheelie bars on it, I got a little concerned at times because I think you bent the tag at least once in it or with it. You know what I mean? And you're doing this with, as you say, slapper bars on it. You know what I mean? You got 19, as you said, multi-leaf springs, original springs, and stuff like that on it. And your car leaves. It absolutely leaves hard. It really does.
Like Bobby Fazio calls it, the car show.
Oh yeah.
Alan Reinhardt used to build us up. We've got a video from Epping at the New England Nationals where ran Joe Santangelo. And Alan said, watch this. He said, who's going to do the biggest wheelie? Because, Santangelo's, and it's really neat because when I think I outdid him, and he said, one's a 350, ours is 350, and Joe's a 396. Well, there was a one time when you do a big wheel stand, you don't want to let off. And you want to make sure you shift it into second before the thing gets part way down, because it'll land just as nice. And just happened on that one, I shifted into second late, and it hit hard, but it didn't hurt nothing. But super stock and stock and the wheel stands that some of the cars do, it's kind of unbelievable we can do that. And especially in like my rear tires, I'm not going to mention their name because they, yeah, I'm just not, because we didn't get contingency from them. But anyway, I got 250 runs on my rear tires, and I still have over a 1/16 of an inch dimple. I can get 300 runs out of these tires, and people have said, we get funny looks. And down at the Baby Gators, when before we had the wheelie bars, we had one there. Alan Reinhardt said we went out about 150 feet, and guys would go and they'd look under the back, and you look at multi-leaf springs with Lakewood traction action bars, and the guys look like, how the hell do you do that? We were at an outlaw track down there in North Carolina, and Tennessee Thunder, I think, the Camaro.
Yeah.
And the guy came walking up with a big smile on his face, and love how those Southern people talk. He says, man, this thing will hook in a mud puddle. And I laughed. And we had another guy when we were out at
John Livingston's group. That's Tennessee Thunder's John Livingston's group. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah, nice people. And it's funny how I don't think, because 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago, we were struggling so much, and we did an interview with Bobby Fazio and Brian Anderson and the other podcast guy that's kind of bald there, Class Racer or something. And when we did Brian was talking about when we did the trifecta thing there, and the wheel stands, and it's I'm kind of, I don't know how it does it, because it's not like we got a ton of power, but there is a couple tricks to it with the front suspension and the shocks and then of course the slapper bars. The slapper bars work great. They always did, and
Yeah, yeah. Santangelo, who owned his car? His '69.
oh
The fellow in Virginia.
I'm
Uh,
Giovanni.
no,
yeah, Bertozzi.
Cozy,
Okay,
Anthony.
Anthony had it, and it always had slapper bars on it till recently, and I mean it. Same thing. It's like your car. It always dragged the bumper, and
Yeah.
always. So it's just how it's set up, and your car clearly works, and that's a good thing. Now also putting big power under the hood helped that.
Yeah,
Helped
yeah,
get it in the air for sure.
yeah.
But who does your transmission converters that you go to?
Jack Sapanic does the transmissions, and Frank Lupo does the converters.
Oh, really? You go to Carolina for them, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
I have two. The transmission that's in the car now is metric 200, but it's got the turbo input shaft in it,
hmm
and that finally broke. Probably after maybe 20 years. That thing went 20 years and probably 1,000+ runs on it. And at Indy, the thing broke, and Jack happened to be there, and we took it out. Jack didn't, but took it out and put spare turbo 350 in it, and then Jack fixed it. And then since we were traveling so much, we ordered a brand new metric 200. This one's all metric, so and a converter, so we could have that for a spare if anything happens. Because if you're traveling, you got to have spares. We got 2 spare generators, spare compressor, and 3 spare carburetors, 1 transmission, and
a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
Now, Tim, I want you to tell Mitchell something, and you don't have to say secrets, okay? But I've mentioned to Mitchell, and he's had a chance to experience it a little bit. When you get there first thing in the morning, or when you get up in the morning, and it's class eliminations, no matter where you're at, okay, it has a different vibe, a different feel. First of all, people hate stalkers because they're the first ones on the track, so they're starting at 7:30 in the morning to be on the track by 8 or whatever the time frame is. But when you got class eliminations, you got to do more prep. Okay, because the whole thing in class eliminations, ladies and gentlemen, is going fast, going quick. In your class, they're pairing up the cars in that same class. In his case, Tim is E-Stock Automatic, so all the E-Stock Automatics will run off. Okay, and then the last person standing will be awarded after passing the proper weight scales, fuel check, and any other teching. They'll get one of those nice wallies in the back for being the quickest in their class. And they'll do that for each one of the classes. That's class runoffs. That's where the heads up really comes in. Then there's also heads up during eliminations if it happens on the ladder. But can you tell Tim and Miss Linda, because I've come by and talked to y'all a little bit, and y'all be smiling, getting something ready. Okay, what do y'all do in a nutshell to prepare for a heads up? Now, of course, assuming that you know you have a heads up, okay, that you have a heads up. What are some general things that you can do to improve your car? And you don't have to give any secrets away. I'm talking generality.
There's no secrets, because I think a lot of people, unless you own a cowboy Cadillac, then you ain't gonna do nothing. You ain't gonna do nothing.
You don't have to open the hood for nothing on that one. Boy, I tell you what. Gee whiz.
What do they say? If you got a cowboy Cadillac, you use ice for your beer.
That's what he does on his cars now. That's what Jim does. He doesn't ice down anything. That's what he says.
He's a smart guy. Give him credit. Few years back, he was pushing me to go to a Chevelle. He said you'd have a better index, better than
Combo.
The 69 Camaro. But any of them, if you wanted a Nova or Chevelle, you can't touch any good one. I've looked at 69 Novas for under $15,000, but they're wrecked. You know, they're
Right.
rusted. They need a ton of work. So, but anyway, for a heads up run, I always I get the car up to 210 degrees. I add a quart of oil and 150 pounds. No, I don't.
You have me at 210. I'm like, please say that's something
Okay.
else. Tell me that's
Now-
a tow truck.
No, we changed the oil. We have oil that costs just under $25 a quart. And depending on, like now, I hate to say it, I'd have to put 3 quarts in it. Which
is
that's
that
really,
with filter? Is that with filter?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's where, but I wouldn't do it. Because I'm now with if run E, I'm not worried about class. I'm not worried about heads up, you know, hopefully. But we put basically 3.5 to 4 quarts of really expensive oil.
Go fast oil. Go fast oil. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Oil that you could make another run or two if you really had to, but once we make that one run, the oil comes out.
Right.
And we save it and can run it for probably two or three more times, and then it gets polluted with the because we run 1030 VR1 all the time. That's been working really good for wear on camshaft and
Right.
so then Linda does bags of ice, and we ice the intake manifold. We pump up the front tires to more air pressure, about 15 more pounds maybe. I don't go any more in the back tires because I found that if I run around 21 pounds of air, especially, it might be me, but it doesn't seem like a lot of these tracks are putting like the effort into good traction.
Right.
They're slacking off. A couple of years ago, we were down to one track, and what's her name, with the Brenda Grubbs, and she was in front of us, and there was 2 other people in front of her, and they just blew the tires off the car. And this was for the final for class, and it would have been a good race, but of course I pulled up and I blew the tires off mine, and we noticed that track, they would prep it good in the morning, but then afterwards they did very little to it. So I run 18 pounds of air in the tires, and that's even with a heads up, because I've never really gained much, actually I haven't. We don't do too much testing because we're on the road so much and fortunately, before last year, for the previous 4 years, we had the combination pretty good with carburetor, engine, converter, and transmission. We never ran 120 under. We ran 118.7, I think it was the fastest. We didn't hit the 120. We would have last year, because on the freshen, we picked up a couple horsepower. Of course, we got hit, so that wiped that out. So,
Right.
but that's kind of it. We and now, a chiller. We have a chiller that we put ice in, and then we hook it up to the top radiator hose that pushes water through the radiator, then into the engine. It doesn't go directly into the engine first. You've probably seen them. You can't,
right.
because if the engine's too hot, that ice water apt to hurt something. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then we run right on maybe 10 pounds overweight. So we have that down. We did enough of that over the past 4 years that we had that down pretty good, that we knew how to do it quick. But
Gotcha. So it sounds like, excluding the oil change, that everything you could do is pretty straightforward and routinish. So I'm
and
guessing it's worth a solid 1500s. Is that a fair number?
what I used to do was 210s.
Okay, I was close.
But now here's another thing that those runs, and you probably know this, those runs heads up in class, they still counted for the average for the automatic horsepower.
Yes.
I explained that, and I said, you can't do that. We don't run that way when we're running through eliminations. And that was totally shot down. No, we're going to count runs that if you have 3 quarts and, iced and tires pumped up, and nope, doesn't matter. So that's another part of especially like, I talked to, Danny Fletcher one time, and he said for class, he said I would never hit the index. But he said if I was in a final in a national, I'm going to do what I have to do to win that national.
Well, I think everybody would kind of agree to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you're running heads up in a final round of a national event, I mean, you're going to put it out there, and that makes sense. Now, and Mitchell and I have talked about this. This year at Indy, the weather was extremely odd. It was cool. It was actually much quicker. But in years past, it's typical August in Indiana. Very hot, very humid. And I've always said any combination that can run 120, 130 under in weather conditions like that, backwards, not ice down, they need to be looked at. And so, and then people, some people get upset with me, and that's just my opinion, of course. Okay, but I'm serious. Like Super J Automatic, if you got a car that comes out there and runs 960s in the heat, in J Automatic, you need to look at it. It might not be in the right class, but I mean that's always going to be a conversation that everybody's going to have, an opinion and stuff like that.
Right.
And really, has that system really worked?
No, that's my point. No.
That's like the Cowboy Cadillac. They raved about that. He went 230 under and number 1 qualifier, and I thought, yeah, but he, needs to have 250 pounds added to it, or you got to drop from. Right. I think he ran T.
He ran T.
And you got to go down to L, or you probably still run 140 under an L.
Yeah, and that's the unique thing about that. He even said that it's a 190 horse factored in that truck, 190 horse, and being a truck, he runs the bigger cam because it's a truck, so it's going to run like a 430 cam in it or something like that versus a 360, 380, or 370, 380, whatever a 305 flat top is. So he's already running a bigger camshaft, running less horsepower, and he even said, it's a powder puff combo. And so, he's just basically putting a thumb in the eye of NHRA going, this is your fault, but it was done.
That's what takes the fun out of it. It's like there's something up here and then over here, and somebody had said it would be nice if had people that are making the decisions that really had a background. Right. I don't want a guy that my local mechanic that's got, not picking on mechanics, but some of them, they live out in the country. I wouldn't want them to do fix my teeth or do surgery on me. But
right.
You need people that are trained, but that's a sad thing. And like I said, I pray that somebody will step up with the NHRA and can make some changes before, because I don't know.
It's okay.
Maybe they should have a little board of 5 racers who have retired from racing, has a vast knowledge of stock and super stock, and have them communicate together and go to the NHRA and show the things that they think should be changed in those classes to make it more fair.
Yeah. Well, you know who would be the perfect group is our sportsman racer group for
Yes.
each division. You know,
Yes.
we got well, it was now it's
Irving, no.
Herbie Null Division One. It was Marty Reinhardt. You got Cooter in Division Four. You know, you got some really
Crutchfield's in two. Mike
Yeah.
Crutchfield. He's
yeah,
a super
really
stock racer.
smart guys that know. And if there's an infraction to me, in stock or super stock, or you know, you go 130 under, they could say, okay, guys, we're going to give it to the committee here, and then they could look and they say, well, you know, the guy was cheating, or you know, or it was mine shaft conditions, and it was like in ours, 1,000 slower, and there would be nothing. There'd be 40 happy guys that would so it's and the guys, and like I said, with oh god, the three announcers there, the not Joe,
Brian Loam
Jason Gavin.
and all that.
Jason's a heck of a nice guy. He is. We had a debate, and I actually said to him, I said, what do you know? I said, you ain't no drag racer. And yeah, I am. He said, I run super comp. He said, I was at Indy, went 4 rounds at Indy, and he rambled on. And I said, well, and then once we got talking, you could see the smartness in this guy. You know, he knew, but when you got somebody over your head that, you know, they're shaking the finger, or they say, you know, and the way it was put with us, whether it's legal or it's not, or if it's right or wrong, the final decision is up to our discretion.
Right.
Well, I
And
think
that took everything out. So whatever, if somebody wasn't, you know, stubbed their toe when they were coming into work and they were in a bad mood, and I worked with people like that, and they were going to take it out on somebody. Especially, you know, I had a boss like that. You knew when you could tell when you walked in, whether you avoided him and you just stayed away. But
Oh yeah.
well, and I think if you create a board like that, you know, of 5 retired racers in those classes, I think they will have the respect of the racers in those respective classes as well. You know, to let them know, hey, we're not here to get you. It's not a get you thing, but we're here to just make it more fair across the playing field of each one of these classes. It's not to make you look bad. It's
yeah,
just to correct it and do it in a professional manner of not, you know, throwing somebody's name or somebody up underneath the bus.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Tim, tell us something here, because Mitchell wants to run Stock Eliminator. Okay, he wants to run. He has.
Well,
a
I
car.
thought until I found out
Has,
how much money.
he has the car in mind, and it's currently not in the book. But anyway, that's a different story. I'm talking to him about something else later. But anyway, generally speaking, your car. Okay, tell people what you can, because I have a hard time verbally explaining this to people until you experience it. Okay, your car weighs what, 32 and some change, 3,200 pounds?
yeah, approximately.
Okay.
Depending on if when I was in F with the 280 horse, it was 3110. G was 3250, and H was 3390. When we got hit, G went to 3415, and H was eliminated.
Right.
So, but in E we're 32. Well, basically at F weight, so a little bit over 25 pounds over F weight to run E. That was
And here's what I'm trying to explain to people. Okay, you got a 69 Camaro that weighs, let's just say for conversation, 3,200 pounds with driver in it.
Yeah.
Okay, 350 flat top piston, open chamber cylinder head with a 194 valve, no porting and polishing, a hydraulic camshaft with 390 410 lift at the valve, not at anywhere, but at the valve, cast iron intake with a quarter jet, an automatic 3-speed in it, foot brake, no trans brake, 9-inch tire, flat hood, no nitrous, none of that stuff. It has a spec legal fuel. Okay, that runs 680s an eighth mile, safe number to say, and runs high tens. When that's a fair number, right?
A little bit better.
How do you, come on? I'm trying to throw you a bone here. Okay, I'm not trying to ask you how quick you run.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, I'm trying to brag on our horsepower.
Well, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, no, our best has been in F, 1072 at 122 with a 60 foot of
670 something.
Yeah. I want to say 673 was
Okay.
a 60 foot. But that was, again, a heads up, iced and with pro stock oil in it and minimum weight and what else?
Now,
Tires pumped up. So.
You're also talking about something that's tripping the 60-foot clocks with the back tires. Okay, that's carrying the front wheels at least 100, sometimes 125 foot. I was there during your class when you ran the fella heads up in 22, and I saw Miss Linda's reaction on the starting line. She had that look right there initially, and then kind of a lean, and then a celebration. So and Mitchell was like going, man, oh man. I said, yep, that's what I'm talking about. But that right there, and Mitchell gets it because he's had a chance to go with me. And again, this year I'm going to show him. We're going to walk around the pits earlier, and I'm going to show him the people prepping, like you said, the cooling them down, the icing them down, and getting them ready to go racing. And it's got an excitement all by itself. And the fact that you could take a car, and y'all two have spent a lot of money, no doubt. But all that is attention to detail. All that is all the little things adding up to big things.
Yeah.
And the hard work shows. Because, I mean, you do the same thing in Mitchell's car. You do the same attention to detail in Mitchell's car. Mitchell, your car's really going to be going a lot quicker than you really think it should be for what's there for the combination. And that's the great thing. And
because she's heavy.
Yeah, I'm still trying to talk him into that. He's got to take it across the scale, a true scale, a real scale, and tell us the truth on what's going on here. Now, I got to ask Miss
about
Linda,
48 and 4,700 pounds.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. And Miss Linda, when are you going to bring out your car, or when are you going to bring out a car?
I think I'm better as a crew chief. I have sat in it. I've never driven the Camaro. The only thing I've ever done was I did sit in it, and I shifted gears. We were at St. Louis. I don't remember what it was. And we had parked. We pitted on the circle track there at St. Louis, and we were going to drive. I was going to drive it around, and then it never happened. So I'm good. My feet were, when I put him in the water box. And when he takes off the starting line, some of those wheel stands, I'll tell you, I'm like, I hold my breath. Yeah, they're just way too high. I wouldn't take that away. That's where I belong, right there.
Are you guys going to be at Gainesville?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
At both races?
Yes. That's the plan. That is the plan.
Good.
And we're going to work on going to some other. Now the points race is going to be kind of hard because of our work schedule, so we're going to try to get away and go at least a day to a couple of them local, South Georgia one, perhaps Orlando. But definitely we're looking at national event wise to attend the Gator Nationals, the one in Rockingham, the one in Georgia, and Indy, and possibly Charlotte.
And Maryland.
Okay? And Maryland, working on the Maryland one. So, yes, we're trying now. What is y'all's schedule overall this year looking like? I think now, besides 50 national events and 25 divisionals,
those are. It depends on what happens in Gainesville. So it's we'll see after Gainesville.
I got you. Like I said,
we the initial plan on this first, it's going to be a 2-month trip. Thank God. I mean, other than Mike and Paula Cotton, I don't know who else does the long trips like we do. We were on, God, 90 some days. We were on a couple of years ago. We were gone for 3 months. And when you do that, you got to have good living quarters that are comfortable to. But anyways, we're gonna do the gators, the baby gators, and hopefully, if everything's fine there, then go up to North Carolina, and then, like I said, go back down. Jimmy Hidalgo, I think I said he called there Sunday, wanted us to come to this race this weekend, and but I said no way, because I worked out. And working, getting ready, everything ready. We'll go to Louisiana anyways after North Carolina, and then North Carolina will shoot up to Virginia Motorsports Park. And like I said, it depends on how things go, and like I said, I'm still praying for some relief, and it's been questionable. So, and with this new system, the horsepower thing, it's pretty.
Here's our pit dog.
Yeah, there we go.
What's your pit dog's name?
Oscar.
Oscar.
He's got over 100,000 miles on him. He travels.
Oscar, you're tired of running, I know. That's a long way.
We had originally planned. We're going to do that Western swing again. We were going to do Gainesville and then go to Louisiana, then to Arizona, Pomona, and Las Vegas. But I don't know why, but NHRA took the Las Vegas national event off in the springtime. So I don't want to say it was a blessing, but we spent last year, like it was a little over 7,000 miles we did in the 2 months, and we spent it's around $4,000 in diesel fuel to do that, and it was probably cost us to do that $8,000 to do that 2-month trip, but it was worth it. It was right. We got to see how the terrain changed. We drove through, and we'll never do that again. Habu.
Do a Habu, yeah.
Yeah, and one of them goddamn dust storms. My God.
I remember that.
It was scary.
we got dust in our. I had to change the air filter on the engine when we were in Arizona, Phoenix. I found a Freightliner shop, because somebody had mentioned about check your air cleaner if you drove through that. I took that air cleaner out and turned it over, and it's like baby powder, that.
Yeah, fine silt stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so luckily there was a Freightliner place, they had a filter, and I put a new filter on it. But yeah, it was great. The Death Valley we saw, went to the Grand Canyon, went to the Hoover Dam with Bobby Bender, and we had a great time. So
yeah, we had Bobby on. We had Bob on earlier.
We watched them. Yeah.
Won $264 at the casino.
Hey.
On $20.
And then we
I was
left.
ready to say on $20. I spent $500, but won $250. Yes.
We really have a beautiful country, and the terrain and the agriculture. We saw the big wall there between Mexico. Paula Cotton said when you get to a certain spot, she said, look to your left and you'll see the wall. One spot there, Death Valley, and when we were heading up to Las Vegas, that was one long climb. I don't know if we climbed 3,000 feet, but it was just a steady. And after we went for, 5 miles or so, the elevation would go up, 1,000. They had it on the side of the road. Started out might have been 3,000 feet, and then we went to 4,000, 5,000. Man, when the heck are we going to get to Las Vegas and level this off? But they can have Las Vegas.
That's the bottom line. You can have it.
Well, you mentioned going out there and seeing the wall built at the border. When I went out there, this is way before, where they only had like a little cattle fence across there, and so I pulled over this place on the side of the road I could get over, and so I went over there and I jumped across the fence and jumped back and got back in the motorhome, and I says, well, I can tell everybody I've been to Mexico now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like going, yeah.
Do that now, you probably get arrested.
Oh boy, yeah. And it's funny how the terrain, we went from, before we got into Texas, it was green, and then it didn't take long. It turned into sand and then boulders, and then once we got to California, then it changed a little bit more to the green grass, and but it was fun. It was said we were gonna do it again, and maybe Linda wants to do it in the fall, do the thing, because they have we're good friends. Yeah, we're good friends with Team Fink there, John Fink, and those are really nice, great people. We friends, and we met another nice guy, Vincent Nobile, and his dad, John. We pitted next to him, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago down Gainesville. And boy, you talk about nice people. Vincent, and it's super nice.
Yeah, I actually interviewed Vincent up at ZMAX.
Yep.
We talked about Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and so we talked about the differences and similarities of it and the current Pro Stock class that are there. And he really enjoyed talking about that and breaking down, what the similarities were and what the differences were, and explained how it was when he first got in to the Mountain Pro Stock car. He thought it was going to react slightly the same as a Pro Stock, and it did not.
He got mad quicker.
It was an eye-opening experience, he said.
Oh, yeah.
All you got to do is talk to Lenny Lottig about the Mountain Motor and the Factory X. Of course, that's another thing, that Factory X thing.
Yes.
That's a sad story, talking millions of dollars. Something that, I don't know, when you got to pay $500,000 just to get the baseline, and then along with the rig and everything. But boy, Lenny Lottig loves that Mountain Motor Pro Stock car. He told me you hit the gas with that, where the Factory X, when you get towards the top end, it wants to kind of skate a little bit. And then he said this Mountain Motor car, man, he says it's got more kick in the butt. And he said, boy, goes straight as an arrow. He's really impressed. So he's going to, of course, another thing, NHRA got rid of the Mountain Motor Pro Stock. So he's got to go over to the other side. And
but that's fine. That's fine. They're accepting open arms and at all the events, 8th Mile, and bring it on.
The only thing with like Vincent, his family, like Taylor, now she runs Point Super Street with NHRA. So when that's going to separate the family with running the NHRA, him running IHRA, which they'll work it out, because the IHRA, you're not traveling all over the country as much as when NHRA had the thing. So it'll all work out. It's all,
absolutely.
And it's going to be, this year is going to be interesting, really, because if you want to drag race, there's so many options now that you can do. It's whether it's going to be fun. It's going to be
well, I want to kind of surprise everybody, but I can't tell what is fixing to come down the pipeline.
Then why
kind
are
of
you
sworn
going
to
to do that?
secrecy.
Then why are you saying it?
But there's going to be some changes to Pro Stock in 2027.
Right. But
Yeah.
and it's going to be a good thing.
yep. But we're not going to talk about it just yet.
No, can't talk
You know,
about it yet.
we're not going to talk about
Not
it
until I
just
get
yet.
approval from
But I can't believe you
NHRA to
even
talk
did
about it.
that. Can't believe you even did that, Mitchell.
Well, I just want to say there's some changes coming in
I know
2027.
it, but
Yeah,
still.
It's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger for later.
there's some other things that with the other side that are some changes coming that are really going to be, I don't want to say icing on the cake, but I had a nice talk with Daryl Cottle, and he's really serious about sportsman racers, not just the pros. It's a
Right.
complete. And
Right.
when we were at National Trail, I don't want to say it was the best time we had, because the best time that I had was running NHRA back in the 90s with Dave LeBrun
Mm-hmm.
and Eddie Elderkin and the Bednez and um, the guys with the Mustangs. The dad died, Cooks, Dean Cook.
Yeah.
And there's several other people. We were at Englishtown one time, and Dave, I was by myself and sleeping in a van, and David said, "Come on," he says, "We're going out to dinner." So we went out of the road there, Englishtown, took a left, and we went to a sports bar. And there must have been, now imagine having 100 drag racers in one spot. I never see so much laughing. It was funny. Oh my God. We had more fun at that. And then, of course, LeBron, if you knew Dave at all, he was always the center. I don't want to say center of attraction, but he'd always get things going, and it was all fun.
Right.
And he used to with John Gray, when John got in and started, we used to say it was like Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, because Dave would pick on John, but he still really cared about John, and but that's the way it used to be. It's there's a lot that it's kind of gone, but I think it'll come back.
It's still there. It's still there in sections, but also the difference now I see compared to then when I was racing too, also in that time here, is there's so many more motorhomes and stuff than there used to be. So now everybody's typically in their motorhome. Okay,
Yeah.
Not everybody. Now a lot of people sit outside of cookouts and whatnot, but everybody's in those those areas versus kind of having a communal thing. But that's up to people to go and go visit people, search people out.
Yeah, and nothing lasts forever, and things change. It's kind of like when I was a kid. One of the things that our families used to do, we had family picnics.
Right.
We'd all get together in someplace, whether it was at the local lake or somebody's big backyard, and you'd have grandparents and uncles and cousins. And there's probably still people that do that, but I'm talking back in the 50s and 60s. And
Right.
then now it's, that's kind of gone away. But
Right.
now it's got so expensive where, we were so limited when I started. I remember when I started, they just okayed headers. You could put headers in a car, and we ran. They approved the cheater slick where it had 2 grooves in it.
Right.
There wasn't much more you could do other than cheat, and there was always guys that were back in those days. I used to run Kendall GT1 2050 in my 302 5 chords, and man, that I wouldn't put that stuff in my lawnmower. Now, it's just the way the oil and what we're killing the engines with that 2050, which
Right.
it was a good oil, but everything's changed so much that.
Right.
And
Comparatively.
then when it comes down to it, it's just a bracket race anyway, unless you have a heads up,
Right.
or like Indy. Indy is it's too bad they wouldn't just let that fly. We got caught when we won Charlotte in the final there. We got caught out of our pits with a chiller, and one of the tech guys kind of reamed us out because he said, you know the rule about you chilling your pit. I said, well, my pit is a half a mile away. By the time you can't tow it, we could push it, but but we straightened that out pretty quick.
Right. If that's the worst thing, it's all right.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but I tell you what, Tim, Mitchell and I are looking forward to seeing you, Miss Linda,
Oh, good.
this year at Gainesville. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the season really getting started. I know Division Seven's already started, but we're looking forward to Division Two getting started, and of course then easing back to you now. Now, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to or recognize before we go?
One guy that I mentioned his name before, he really helped, and I've been recognizing, other people. And Matt Steen, Victory Engines, he did, like I said, he did the work. He did our heads, and he didn't charge for the cores. He didn't charge for shipping, but I've never really mentioned his name. And the heads that he did were really super good. And other Linda, Linda's the big thing. I've mentioned other people so many times that, but that's basically it. Without Linda, she's been, and like I said, I told her today, or just before we got on, I was thinking because I was getting nervous. It was kind of like when we had our first date. I thought I was gonna be cool, and there 21 years ago, and got flowers, and the closer it got to the time we were supposed to meet, I had a hot flash and I started sweating, and I thought I was going to blow the deal. But I owe I owe everything to Linda. This is Linda, and I had a good mother and good father, and um, that's kind of the other people promoted. They got enough promotion that um, give that, and then like I said, I believe in God now, because we've gotten some things that I'm not going to question, why things have gone the way they are, and like with Linda, battling breast cancer, thank God she's not cured. She never will be cured. She's on Ibrance, and she'll be on that, and we had a deal going on with that, and we just got a thing. I think last year, the medication was $180,000, and but we don't have to pay nothing. But that's kind of the insurance, stuff that goes on. But really, everything, Linda, I
Well,
can't see.
we're definitely going to keep her in our prayers.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. We'll definitely do that. We'll keep her
And
prayers.
thank you guys for doing this. I watch you guys, and there's all kinds of podcasts and stuff, and really appreciate. Because I, like I said before, I said on one podcast, people like me aren't supposed to win. We're not supposed to, and Brian Anderson, he kind of cut in. He said, "Nah," he said, "I got to disagree because, there's people like us that, we're there. We just don't have everything we put together like some of the people that Tiger Woods or whoever with. You got to practice, and your mind's got to be focused. And like I said, Linda, she lines me up in the water box. Excuse me, and we throw kisses to each other, and I really appreciate having a good wife, because I've never really had one before that was so thoughtful and so supportive. And used to see them once in a while. You see couples, and then you see other ones that the guys, he had a good wife or a good girlfriend, but the guys didn't appreciate him. So Linda's a major thing. She's
good.
focused, and I'm talking your ear off. I used to be. I'm making up for all the bashfulness that I used to have.
You're and Miss Linda comes back. She goes, "Hey, how you doing? You're still talking about me? All right, good." No, but we wanted to tell both of y'all, thank y'all very much for everything for everything that y'all do for the sport and do for everybody. Miss Linda will continue to pray for you for your continued treatments. And like I said, we encourage everybody to go to your local track. If you haven't gone to one yet, go to your local track. If not, go to an NHRA race, IHRA race. Definitely walk through the sportsman pits, and you'll meet wonderful people like Tim and Linda and others. Okay, and you'll have a good time. You'll enjoy yourself, good family atmosphere, and just like Bobby Fazio says, and that's another podcast we encourage everybody to go to is to listen to Bobby Fazio, driver's interview with Bobby Fazio. But he also does it live. We encourage you to follow him also. And like I said, we appreciate everything that y'all do, and we just wish y'all nothing but the safest and a best year, and we plan on seeing you at Gainesville.
Yes, sir. Bring your camera.
Oh, I'll bring it. Hey, if you'll let me, I'll put it in your car.
We can do that. If you wanna, I'll take the wheelie bars off.
No, it's your car. It's your car. You do as you want.
Well, that one that you watched, and when I was going down, I actually had 2 wumps in it. I had to keep it from going too far. So it was, but it's part of the show, like Bobby says. The car show.
The car
and
show.
When somebody, and then if you look at the setup, you'd say, how the heck is
right? Exactly. But if you want to, that's fine. Your call on that completely. Your call.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want us to put a camera in your car, I'd be more than happy to. And like I said, y'all just have fun and enjoy yourself and keep it clean, keep it off the wall, and all that stuff. But I want to tell y'all once again, from us here at On the Spot Motorsports Media, we want to tell you thank you very much, and we appreciate everything that y'all do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
have a
thank
good
you.
evening.
Y'all too. Have a good night.
Y'all take care.
Bye now. See you at Gainesville. Take care, buddy.
I tell you what, a great show.
That's a sweet couple. Is that a sweet couple or what? Oh my gracious!
Definitely.
And I'll
tell you what,
you gotta follow. You gotta go, Mitchell. I'll show you. You gotta see.
Well, I'll be ready to take some pictures. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Me too.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages, and me and Robert will close down the show.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
With more than 30 years of engine and drivetrain experience, Big Stuff is your one-stop total power management solution. Whether you're controlling a 600 horsepower street car and want the best drivability, or have a 6,000 horsepower race car, need the most bulletproof, reliable control hardware, Big Stuff can do it all. All of our components are designed and manufactured right here in the USA, including our computers, wiring harnesses, touchscreen displays, and more. Nothing is built offshore, and we take pride in being one of the only automotive aftermarket manufacturers that can say this. Learn more at BigStuff3EFI.com or connect with us on Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Well, I'll tell you what, Robert, we want to thank everyone who joined us tonight, who's going to watch this podcast even later. We want to let everybody know, please follow us on Facebook, go subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, Spotify. Am I missing anything?
Kick.
Kick?
Kick. But definitely go to the YouTube channel. This interview will be uploaded on YouTube along with all the others, including the live streaming of the bracket races and other races. But we're really working hard. We want that channel to really grow, and we need it to. So with your help, it will. So we encourage everybody, please go over and subscribe.
Yeah, we're going to give Robert a little break. I'm actually planning on going to South Georgia up there for Lights Out 17 for Saturday and Sunday. I tell you what, that's a great event in itself. Man, some of the fastest store cars you'll ever see on the planet will be there racing. And of course, want to remind everybody this coming Tuesday night, NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion Richard Gaston will be joining us. So we're going to talk about the remainder of his year last year and what's on the horizon for 2026 and him defending that title. So it's going to be tough because even his teammate will be gunning for that title in 2026.
Yeah, that's true.
Jay Herrera.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. This season's going to be really good.
And you got Matt Smith. I mean, they were posting yesterday when they're got all their bullets all laid out there. And, Matt said they have 3 more to build. So they're getting all their bullets ready. So just in case of something happens, they've got another one they can swap out real quick. It's going to be a great year in that Pro Stock motorcycle class. And according to Top Fuel as well. I mean, some remarkable times and mile per hour is being put up. Josh Hart, they roll out the Top Fuel dragster there with John Force Racing. Goes down the track, runs a 340. And then here comes Sean Langdon. And he goes back to back. I think he runs a 343 and turns around. Today he runs a 345. So, yes.
At only a 369, I think. And I see
that. 369
on
the ET.
Yeah, I see that only. Okay, because he went quicker on the first run by a couple hundreds. And then Vandergrift.
Yeah, 364, I think it was.
And then the John Force team out there doing excellent. And I tell you, it's going to be a very, very interesting year. And just like what was talked about with the IHRA, with the different sportsman classes, like the Hemi shootouts, there's going to be a 4-race series in IHRA, 10,000 to win each race with a point system, and an overall winner gets a larger purse too. So that's going to be exciting, running for the Hemi cars. So this is going to be an exciting year, and you're going to have your hands full of Ducks race.
Well, I just want to mention something real quick. Protesting's going on. Chad Head is the president of Pro, and that he's responsible of the testing going on at Gainesville with the Nitro cars and Pro Stock cars that are on the property, but it is closed to the public. And so I know that might frustrate you some as a fan. Years past, you could go out there and watch testing, but there's some things going on this year. You've got several people out there getting their license in Funny Car and Top Fuel. These are going to be the new drivers coming in. That's going to be the future faces of the NHRA. And there's some artwork on some of these bodies that they don't want anybody to see either, because they want to showcase those at the Gator National. So those are the type of things, the reason why they kind of don't want the public to come in. They're there to work. Some of these teams might have new crew guys trying to get them in a routine, no matter if they're working on top end, the bottom end, head, supercharger, what have you. So yeah, just try to stay away. It won't be but a couple more weeks, and you'll be able to get your dose of NHRA drag racing and the 75th anniversary of the NHRA.
I do believe that Competition Plus is on the grounds.
Yes, Competition Plus was able to get in there.
Yep, and he has posted some stuff, and excellent. Bobby Bennett is excellent at what he does, and so you can definitely go there and do some following for the preseason testing. And like Mitchell said, I mean, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of little things that Mitchell and I are aware of that we're not privy to share at this moment. So things are definitely looking exciting.
Just like the pro stock class is going to have some changes for 2027.
You see, you're slipping it out, man.
Hey, I'm trying to know. No, I'm not going to give it up.
I
It's
know
a
you're not. I know you're not.
cliffhanger.
Just, and there's a little bit that I've shared with you on some stuff that same deal. Not with Pro Stock, but with other things. So we're looking forward to it. But once again, we want to thank Redline Synthetic Oil for coming on board again this year, but also Scorpion Racing Products for coming on this year, and also for Big Stuff Fuel Injection, also for GRE. Okay, if you need any graphics work done, T-shirts, hats, stickers, you need to reach out to GRE. They supply all of Gainesville Raceway and other events around. But you can also follow them too, and they're excellent. They do our business cards and other things for us.
Yeah, they do wraps. They do wraps on boats, race cars, businesses, food trucks. You name it. Tim Goolsby and the group there at GRE does a great job.
Anybody that's still listening to this podcast at this time, listen up. If we get enough people to come on board and to back On the Spot Motorsports Media, I've convinced Mitchell to put a wrap on his car with all the companies that we're working with. Okay, going through Tim. So, if y'all want to see a wrap on his car, okay, with all the companies on it, and including yours, whoever your marketing partner might be, to come on board with us, reach out to us. We need you to come on board and work with us so we can make this happen.
Because my car is ugly right now.
Actually, it's not, man. I'm telling you, just wrap one door just to match the graphics of the other. They're the same body color, for goodness sakes. Let it go. But it's
I'll tell you what, everyone, you'll probably see some interviews this weekend from the pits up there at South Georgia. And don't forget, Tuesday night, Richard Gaston joining us. You don't want to miss that at all.
Absolutely. Everybody
take care.
We'll take care. See you later.